Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new, we're here to help you with your N-400 application and help you pass the U.S. citizenship interview. Today we're going to go over some frequently asked questions while filling out the N-400 form, and we'll provide you a few tips to make the process a bit less painful. Are you ready? Let's go. Before we start, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you won't miss our latest videos. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like the video. So, first question. What is the purpose of the Form N-400 and who should use it? Form N-400, the application for naturalization, is an application to become a naturalized U.S. citizen. So this form is for people who are currently already have a permanent resident card, commonly known as a green card. One common question is, can I apply for citizenship when my I-751 case is pending? The answer is yes. You can do that in parallel as long as you meet all of the requirements. If you don't know what the requirements are, go check out this video. Keep in mind, some of you might not need to fill out this form. If your biological or legally adoptive mother or father is a U.S. citizen by birth, or was naturalized before you reached your 18th birthday, you may already be a U.S. citizen. In that case, you do not need to fill out the N-400. Instead, you can use the N-600 form to apply for the Certificate of Citizenship. Where do I apply or download the form? In September 2019, USCIS released a new version of the N-400 form for people who prefer to apply via mail. The new version is very similar to the previous version with some minor changes. The new form has a barcode at the bottom of each page, and it says edition September 17th, 2019. In addition, it shows expires September 30th, 2022 on the upper right-hand corner of the first page. The simplest way is probably filling it out online because you don't have to worry about whether it's the latest version of the form. All you need to do is head over to www.uscis.gov/N-400 and hit the File Online button. It will then ask you to create an account to start the process. We'll make a separate video to go over that in detail. A few things to note for people who are planning to file via mail. First, you need to make sure you download the latest form directly from the USCIS website, which again is www.uscis.gov/N-400. Do not download the form from any other third-party websites. Make sure to double check you still have the latest version before sending in the application. We have seen an applicant who downloaded the form directly from USCIS. She then saved the form on her computer for a long time, then filled it out and submitted it. However, her application was rejected because she didn't realize the form she had saved on her computer was no longer the latest version when she finally submitted her application. So make sure to double check. How much is the application? First, all USCIS forms are free to download. The only fee you have to pay is the processing fee and the biometrics fee, which is $725 as of now. USCIS had proposed to increase the fee last year, but so far nothing has been announced or changed yet. You do not need to pay extra to download the form. We have seen third-party websites that ask you to pay to download the form. These are scams, so be aware of them. Again, only download the form from the USCIS website, which ends in .gov. Second, if you're going to apply for a fee waiver, you cannot submit your application online. You have to submit your application by mail. Third, make sure you have enough funding in your account before applying. If USCIS cannot process your payment, your application will be rejected and returned. Some banks and credit card companies might refuse the transaction if they think it's suspicious. It's always a good idea to call and give them a heads up about the upcoming transaction. We've actually seen a case where the application was rejected because the bank declined the transaction. It just further delays your application process, and you don't want that. What are the eligibility requirements? We made a video about all of the requirements that you need to meet, and you can check it out here if you're not familiar with them. Remember, you have to meet all of the requirements in order to apply, unless you're exempt under certain categories. When can I apply? Applicants can actually apply 90 days before their 5-year anniversary of continuous residence as a green card holder, or 3 years if they're married to a U.S. citizen. Remember, you calculate the date from the resident since date on your green card. So it's not when you arrived to the U.S. and not when you got married. There's actually an official early filing calculator on the USCIS website that you can use to find out exactly when you can apply. I'll put the link in our description. Let me go over quickly how to use this tool. Here's the link. Once you get there, scroll down to the permanent resident anniversary date. Again, the anniversary date is based on the resident since date on your green card. So, if your date says July 4th, 2018, and you are applying based on the 5-year eligibility, you will put July 4th, 2023 as your permanent resident anniversary date. The calculator will automatically give you the earliest date that you can file. In this case, it's April 5th, 2023, 90 days before your anniversary. However, try not to apply on that exact day. We have seen several applications get rejected because of a 1-day difference. Even though the applicant submitted the application on the day suggested by this calculator, USCIS rejected the application after the applicant attended the interview. USCIS said the application was 1 day too soon. Fortunately, the application was eventually approved after numerous communications with USCIS and various local government officials. Let's just say it was a very stressful situation. To avoid the headache and the delay of your application, wait for a few days before applying. So in our example, I suggest you to wait until April 7th or April 8th of 2023 to apply. What do I need to include in my application? It depends on your case. You can use the M-477 document checklist form as a reference. We will discuss this in more detail in a separate video. It's a good idea to start collecting and organizing the documents before you apply. Also, only submit legal photocopies of documents requested unless the instructions specifically state that you must submit an original document. For people who are filing online, you can use your phone to take pictures of your documents for submission. You just need to make sure that pictures are clear and in focus. If USCIS asks for original documents, they will return the original back to you after they determine it is no longer needed. Remember, if you submit original documents when not required or requested by USCIS, your original documents may be destroyed upon receipt. What if my document is in a foreign language? If you submit a document with information in a foreign language, you must also submit a full English translation. The translator must sign a certification that the English language translation is complete and accurate, and that he or she is competent to translate the foreign language into English. Common documents that require a translation include birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, divorce decrees, and academic transcripts. You can certify the translation of a document yourself as long as you can translate accurately and complete a certification form. The certification form can be very simple, and we will include a link to download a sample PDF in the description. If you want to avoid the hassle, there are also services online that you can use, and we will also include a link in our description for that. Do I need to include any passport photos with my application? No, you are no longer required to submit any passport photos with the N-400 application unless you apply overseas. The USCIS will use your biometric appointment photo for the Certificate of Naturalization. Where do I submit the application? If you apply online, you just click Submit and pay the fee. You don't have to worry about which field office you need to send it to. It will be assigned automatically. For those of you who are planning to mail in your application, it depends on which state you are living and what courier service you are using. For example, if you file from California and use the U.S. Postal Service, you mail your application to a P.O. box in Arizona. But if you use FedEx, you mail your application to a physical address in Arizona. So make sure to choose the right address to send it to, or your application will be delayed. We'll provide a link in the description. Should I apply online or via mail? This is really a personal choice. It will take about the same amount of time to fill out the form either way. And we've heard that the processing time is about the same as well. Whether you're doing it online or by paper, it's easier if you've gathered all of your documents up front. We personally prefer online because we're more comfortable with computers. In addition, only certain sections of the form will show up based upon the answers you've provided. So in a way, it helps you fill out the application. Let's say, for example, if you don't have any children, the online form will skip the whole section 11. If you're doing it by mail, make sure to send the application via a courier with delivery confirmation. Okay, here are a few more tips for you. First, make sure your form is complete, filled out entirely, and signed. Second, double and triple check for accuracy. Ask another person to review it if possible. Last but not least, save a copy of the form. You should review it and be familiar with your answers before your citizenship interview, which might be months after your submission. All right, that's it for today. Check out these videos on our channel also. Consider subscribing and hit that notification button so you won't miss our latest releases. I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.